Oh, yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Meant that.
All right, let's move on.
Let's just move on. Okay, now, as you know, the first 3 matches, we kind of had fun with the show. After this match, this is when it got ugly. Let's get a bunch of 16-year-olds, us, to consider quit wrestling altogether and contemplate suicide because of guys who can't fucking wrestle, even though they were once legends in this business match. We are talking about what might be the worst match in wrestling history. The Bushwhackers versus Nikolai Volkov and Iron Sheik. One at a time. I know we all want to spoon. We all want to spoon Venom. Matt, you spoke first. Matt, you go first.
Okay, let me start this off and just say Nikolai Volkov couldn't sell, couldn't work, couldn't do anything.
Horrible.
The Bushwhackers sucked, and Iron Sheik was the best worker in the match. And didn't do anything but a camel clutch.
There's something I'll actually let you know. Trademark, I'll let you talk next. Every single move in this match was a botch. Every single bump in this match was horrible. There's nothing redeeming about this match at all. Trademark, go.
Yeah, seriously, nothing good at all. And
I mean, let me even do.
Okay, let me put it this way. Let me just say this. I did a WrestleMania series earlier when I reviewed all the WrestleManias, and I saw WrestleMania 5, and that had a match with the Bushwhackers and the Fabulous Rougeaus. And the Bushwhackers in that match to me were completely awful, and they were fucking everything up. That was 1989. This is now 10 years later, and they could not even do an Irish whip.
That is true. The Bushwhackers were both doing a double Irish rip, and they fell into each other. Go, Survivor Series.
Volkov tried to do a body splash in the middle of the match, and he landed on his foot and his knee. He couldn't even do a fucking body splash. Are you fucking kidding me? This match was the worst match. Worse than Jenna Sharmell. Worse than anything you can think of. This made me really seriously contemplate suicide, and it embarrassed me as a wrestling fan.
Now,
it embarrassed me.
I could not believe my eyes. This match was full of people running into each other, falling down.
Me personally, Jenna Sharmell, you know, you're kind of like, okay, these are 2 women with no wrestling experience. While it is horrible, these men, especially one of these men was a world champion. 2 of these men were tag team champions, and the other 2 were still, you know, very renowned and popular in the 1980s. They used to wrestle. They know how to wrestle. They had training, and they still put on what was an ungodly match. Let me just say, before someone else takes this, Dave Meltzer gave this an absolute 0, which was the equivalent of negative 459 stars, and Brian Alvarez says minus more stars than the stars in the universe, and the universe is infinite. We all hated this match.
And people, that's
unbelievable.
I would agree with Brian Alvarez, and I would just basically take his rating and multiply it by 10.
It's amazing how stupid it's amazing how stupid the fans of that show were. I would have thrown shit at the crowd. I would have thrown shit at the fucking wrestlers. It's amazing how bad the crowd was at that show.
Now, we all obviously gave this minus 5 stars, but since we felt this match was so horrible, it didn't deserve stars, it deserved words, and we wrote, or at least I wrote, fuck wrestling and fuck this promotion. Moving on. Next we have the best thing on the whole show, which was Tully Blanchard cutting this very good promo. Very good promo on Stan Lane.
Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake the Snake Roberts promo was the best.
Okay, but this was still very good.
Yeah, the Jake Roberts promo was easily better than this.
Well, for different reasons. This was
speaking seriously. Stan Lane, no, not Stan Lane. Tully Blanchard did have the best promo, but Jake the Snake was just funny because he was drunk.
Yes. This promo was great. He cut a shoot on Stan Lane, saying Stan Lane would never have won a title if he wasn't a part of the Midnight Express. Whatever. It was great. I liked it. But then he fucking put on a horrible match. Let's have a match where the wrestlers try to have the most boring match possible and try to put people to sleep. I'll talk about the second part of the title later. Someone take this. Survivor Series. You go. No, Survivor Series. Survivor Series. You go first this time because you always go last.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Literally, this match was, even though it wasn't the worst, I felt this might have been the most boring match because they did absolutely nothing this match. I was falling asleep probably just like everyone else does. There was no wrestling quality. There was nothing to even get me involved. It was not the worst match. It was very bad. but this was by far the most boring match I have ever seen. Probably, I literally fell asleep almost during this match. Yeah. It sucked.
This was the third best match of the night.
Yeah, all right. And let me talk about the finish. Let's discuss the finish of this match.
Yes.
There was like some kind of pinning predicament where I think what was it? Blanchard was getting pinned.
Stan Lane was giving Blanchard a back suplex. Yes. Stan Lane. I'll explain it so you might not be able to hear him. Stan Lane gave Blanchard a back suplex. Both their shoulders were down. Blanchard kicked out at the last minute, and the referee still counted the 3, so they say Blanchard won. If you look closely, you will see that Stan Lane's shoulders were never down. His left arm was always tilted to the right. Therefore, and how also could the ref possibly see that with Blanchard's body in the way? And so basically, when I saw that...
He let them wrestle for like another minute or so before he called for the bell.
Yes, they're fighting afterwards, and he just says, okay, let me call for the bell. And I'm like, okay, is this a DQ? Is this counter? What's going on? Did Stan Lane like destroy Blanchard? Because I saw Blanchard on the floor, and then he raises Blanchard's hand. I'm just like, well, what's going on? I don't get this. So I wrote on.
They didn't know what to do. WCW booking.
I wrote.
This wasn't WCW booking. This was booked by the goddamn wrestling hell devil.
I wrote, and let's have a match. We'll also try to have the most boring match possible and try to put the people to sleep. And has no decision, but the refs give it to Blanchard anyways. So besides the match, that the match was extremely boring, extremely horrible of a match. Horrible, and that finish was so fucked up. I was enraged for this match. I gave it -1 star.
Well,
I gave it -1 star.
I gave it -1 as well.
I gave it -1 as well, and this is the match that started to make us like really irritable.
I think it was by this point. I think it was at this point where Trademark took a break or something, and he came back, and then I took a break, and I got so mad at him. Like I wrote in big letters, "You're a selfish prick. Look what you're making us do. You're taking so much time, it's taking us forever to watch the show. It's your fault." Angry, 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 undeserved.
Oh,
I've already apologized. I'll talk about
Hold on. Let me just say that Trademark put the title of our Skype chat while we were watching that, Lord of the Flies, and for you guys.
Yeah, I made that title, you asshole. Don't even take credit for it.
He said that you made it.
I gave you credit. And for those of you who are wondering what it means, Lord of the Flies is a book that many schools make people read, and the story is that the kids go on their animal instincts and turn on each other, and this is what we basically did watching the show because it was that thing.
Oh, yeah, we became rabid animals killing each other.
Okay, so...
Seriously, if I was watching in person with any of you guys, I probably would punch some of you.
Yes.
And I'd punch you right back, and I'd shoot all of you.
Next we get what I thought was the second worst match of the night, which says a lot. That says a lot to win that honor. It's called Fuck the DQ, fuck destroying each other's face, fuck the ball shots, fuck all the rules, the ref only cares about count out. Abdullah the Butcher versus One Man Game, which I gave the worst hardcore match I've ever seen with a count-out finish. God, someone trying to take this because I can't.
They start using weapons. The ref does not even care. I mean...
Let me just say, this was not no DQ. This was not announced as a no DQ match. The ref was just kind of like, no, I'm going to allow this, you know. They're fighting each other. They're fucking pouring blood and guts, chains, chairs. This was never announced as a no DQ match. Just saying.
But yet they get a count out. They're killing each other, but yet the match ends as a fucking count. What's going on here? It's like scratching your head. He lets them kill each other, chains, everything, but the match ends with a count out because God forbid they're out of the ring for 10 seconds? What the fuck?
The ref will say, I'll allow you to kick each other in the balls.
They were botching everything. Everything was just a disaster. These two fat asses running around the ring, hitting each other with stuff, seriously.
Botchy, bloody... No connection to any of the hardcore spots. They were just kind of there. It was a garbage. Everything that I hate about the Desmond Wolf Abyss match at Slammiversary was in this match. And this horrible finish. And these guys can't wrestle. And they can't punch. So let me see. I gave that half a star. So this equals to like, what, -3, -4? I forget. I hated this match.
I gave this -4. This was close to being a -5-star match. And I honestly have no clue how Meltzer could only give this -2 and a quarter.
I thought the same thing. I gave this like -3 or 4. And the thing is, with the hardcore match, you're supposed to build up to the spots and stuff, and this had no build up for any of the spots. Abdullah bled for absolutely just about no freaking reason. and they just it was just so freaking boring. It might have been just as boring as Tory Blanchard's Dan Lane.
It was
a hardcore match.
It was also a very, very, very boring hardcore
I think we
match.
can all agree. I think we can all agree that was definitely the worst hardcore match we have ever and ever will see.
I've never seen a worse hardcore. Well, I have to see some CCW shit, but I've never seen a match. Now let's go to number 7. This point, it was just, let's just end the show. Let's just end the show. Let's get out of here, because we have 2 matches left. I call this Infinite Arm Locks, and I honestly don't give a fuck, but it's fun to make a creative title. Let me say, I want to start this one off. Those of you, our fans who watched our Starrcade 2000 review, which was myself, Trademark, and Matt, for a match between General Erection and the franchise Shane Douglas, we said that General Erection held franchise Shane Douglas in a bear hug, and it was infinite. Infinite bear hug. And we kept typing in the chat, whenever they would do another move, we want bear hug. This, however, I think it was Bob Orton had Snooker in an infinite. We timed it.